Alright, my name is Will Hewitt, and this is my final presentation for my mapping project. My topic is the American fast food's effect on Europe. And in 2012, this is my question. In 2012, does the existence of McDonald's fast food establishments correlate with an increase in national obesity rates? And the reason I chose McDonald's is because I believe it's the best representation of an unhealthy American eatery that has made an impact, or that exists largely in Europe. My hypothesis is that I believe that there will be a strong positive correlation between McDonald's establishments per country and national obesity rates. I also hypothesize that more populated countries will have a higher LQ for McDonald's establishments and a higher obesity rating. And basically, what the LQ represents is that it takes all these populations, these countries with different population sizes, and it normalizes the data so that we can compare their two data sets together side by side. And this is the data without the LQ. So this is not normalized, but still, I think it's helpful to see just how many McDonald's establishments there are per country. And so you can see that countries like Germany and the UK and France have lots of McDonald's. They also have higher populations as well, but they also have the most McDonald's establishments. One interesting fact is that Iceland is the only country on this list that has absolutely zero McDonald's. They just got rid of their last McDonald's like in 2011 or 2010, so they have no McDonald's. There were some countries that I couldn't get data on for how many McDonald's establishments they had, but Iceland, I did get a data number, and it's just zero, so that's why they have none on there. This is the normalized data, so this is with the LQ. Or not the LQ, this is just for the population is normalized. So you have the ratio of McDonald's establishments to the country's population. So you can see that Iceland, once again, zero. Then there's Cyprus, which has a large number of McDonald's establishments in comparison to its population. Also, you can see that Ireland and Sweden have large numbers of McDonald's. The ratio is very high. Germany, which was the highest, had the most McDonald's out of anyone, has a rather average number, has a rather average ratio in comparison to other ones. And here is another non-normalized data set, the number of obese adults per country. Those are obese adults over 18 years old, and you can see that the UK has a lot, as well as Germany. Once again, this shows that the more population you have, the more you'll have of each thing. Iceland, very low number of obese adults. Estonia, Luxembourg. Looks like the further west you go, the more obese adults there are, but there's also more population out west as well. And here it is the ratio of obese adults to the total population of the country. And it's really interesting what happens, because you see that like if we go back here, like Hungary and Denmark, who didn't necessarily have a high number of obese people, all of a sudden, well, maybe not Denmark, but maybe that is Denmark, I can't really tell. Hungary or Denmark, they're way up there, have lots of, the ratio is very high in comparison to their total population. And then go back to Germany and UK. Actually, UK is still pretty high, but like Germany is down low, and yeah, things like that. Luxembourg's pretty high. Ireland's pretty high. Yeah. And here is the actual map with the LQ that has allowed us to see the obesity rates of each country in comparison to one another. And as you can see, uh, looks like out west, further west you go, the more obese. Well, maybe not. It's almost like on the extremities, kind of. So you have Iceland and the UK and Ireland obese, and then you have Luxembourg, Estonia, and Czech Republic have a high LQ for obesity as well. Countries like Italy and Netherlands and Norway, Romania, Bulgaria, these countries have low excuse me, they have low obesity rates for the LQ. But remember, Iceland was the country that didn't have any McDonald's whatsoever, and they have a high obesity rate. So that kind of goes against my hypothesis a little bit. And now we look at the map for the McDonald's establishments, and we see that even though Germany had the most, they don't have the highest LQ, so their population offsets that. But you can see that Sweden, UK, Ireland, France, and that's Austria, have, and Cyprus, surprisingly. Cyprus they have a lot of McDonald's in Cyprus down there. Don't forget about them in the corner. But yeah, and this is definitely shows a clear, the further west you go, the more McDonald's you will have. I think that's just because it's more modernized, more highly affected by Western culture on the western side of Europe. So, yep, that's that. So I guess my findings, largely I would say the hypothesis is not backed up by the data. And it is in some cases, but it's definitely not in other cases. So it's very mixed bag here. Looking at some of the higher populated countries, you have UK, where we see that UK has very high, they're up there in McDonald's, and they are up there in obesity rate. So they are the one that fits my hypothesis. Let me look at Germany. Germany has a, where's McDonald's? Okay. Germany has a moderately high LQ for McDonald's, and has a lower LQ for obesity rates. So there is somewhat of a correlation there, but once again, nothing like the UK. UK pretty much was my hypothesis to a T. Then we look at Poland. Poland has lower McDonald's rate, higher obesity rate. Spain has moderate levels of both. France has high rate of McDonald's and low obesity rate, which is the exact opposite of my, because they're exact opposite of correlation to each other. Negative correlation, I guess. Oh, wait, that's not right. I don't know. They don't correlate at all. And then Italy has a low McDonald's LQ and a negative, not negative, a low obesity rate. So really high populated countries, which I thought would be all high McDonald's, high obesity, were all over the place. The only one that actually followed my hypothesis was the UK. So that hypothesis has been not necessarily backed up at all, maybe just a little bit, but for the most part, it's been proven incorrect. And there were some other interesting cases. Austria was extremely high McDonald's. If we go back here, see Austria is red there, very high McDonald's, and we look at its obesity rate, very low obesity rate, one of the lowest countries out of all of them. It actually was the lowest of all obesity LQs, and it was the second highest of McDonald's LQs. So Austria was the furthest from my hypothesis. Iceland, once again, we talked about how it has absolutely zero McDonald's. So once again, lowest LQ for McDonald's with an LQ of 0.000, and had a very high obesity rate, and it was the third highest obesity rate. So the eradication of McDonald's from Iceland has not necessarily had a great impact on their obesity as a population. Ireland and UK, they were the ones that fit my hypothesis, as well as Romania. So Ireland and UK both had high McDonald's. If you go back, see that Ireland and UK both have high McDonald's and high obesity rates over there. And the other one that fit my hypothesis in a negative way was Romania, as it had a low number of McDonald's establishments and also a very low obesity rate, as well as Bulgaria. So both of those countries out east fit my hypothesis in just a different way than UK and Ireland. And these are my sources, and that's all I have for you. Thank you very much.